What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here. Alright, continuing my little, rush back into some more TF2 stuff, alright? And this one looked really interesting, okay? This is TF2, a complete history of the Pyro, and this is by After Breakfast, okay? This looked really interesting. I understand he's got more, but the Pyro one is the one that really caught my eye. So, if this is actually really good, I might be doing the other ones he's got in the series. Also, provided he doesn't hit me with copyright claims and shit like that. Oh, because of this reaction video. Anyway, let's go. Oh wow, that intro was like very 80s. The music and the text and everything. That's very
Pyro.
80s.
Real name
unknown.
Pyro.
Real name unknown.
Job.
Age unknown. Gender
and
unknown.
This will be the complete history of the Pyro. Which character this video would be about was actually determined this time around by a YouTube poll, which ended up getting 9,000 votes. Soldier actually started off with a pretty solid lead, then it was tied for a while, and at the time of making this, the Pyro was won with 38% of the vote.
Wow.
Which explains why you're watching a video about the history of Pyro. And I guess we're gonna get right into it. Concept art of Pyro has always kept it in a fire retardant suit and a head covering of some kind. While a lot of the early illustrations don't differ that much from what we got, there's notably two pieces of concept art that show a face for Pyro, appearing to be a bald man with a large nose. But unfortunately,
and a huge
no
chin.
Real information on how or why Pyro was changed as a character from the early stages. So we're just kind of stuck with some pictures of a weird guy with a big nose. The Pyro is voiced by Dennis Bateman, who also voices the Spy. As he was recording his lines for Spy, it was brought up by Valve that there was another character in the game who doesn't exactly speak, but makes sounds. They asked if he wanted to try out
look at... Why the hell was he building that sentry all the way the hell back there?
Or mumbles. Interestingly, according to Bateman, Pyro has actual written lines, but they're spoken underneath his hand to get that muffled effect. If you came here looking for some background information on Pyro as a character, there isn't any. Pyro is just as big a mystery now as it was when the game first came out. Maybe even more so.
The Spy.
Pyro started off pretty much just being a crazy guy who liked fire and talked in a mostly ununderstandable mumble. By comparison, Pyro was a relatively underdeveloped character when compared to the rest of the cast, but not without personality. It wasn't until Meet the Pyro in 2012 where we really learned the extent of Pyro's sanity.
Or lack thereof.
The other mercenaries
there you go.
are, knowingly mercenaries who appear to enjoy killing people. Pyro seems to have no knowledge of what it's actually doing and lives in its own fantasy world where it's more friendly and playing. When it's actually murdering people.
Horribly.
And most of Pyro's delusions seem to relate directly to fire. In the comic Ring of Fire, when Pyro loses its job and is put in a position without fire in its life, we see it become a very successful CEO of Frontier Engineering. Though Pyro apparently views this fireless life as dull and gray. Still in its own weird cartoony world, but just monotone and boring. Pyro is somehow a very good business person, but appears to have very little interest in that life, and leaves immediately after seeing Soldier and Miss Pauling light a fire to get its attention.
He sees colors and everything. Pyro, remember fires?
Does it even view that as a job? I mean, they're basically arming an insane person who has an incredibly skewed concept of what's actually happening. It's a little bit messed up if you think about it. And Pyro's teammates don't even seem to like the Pyro and are disturbed by it. After all, Heavy fears no man, but that thing scares him.
That
Scout
thing?
doesn't want to talk about Pyro,
scares me.
Freak. Spy shudders to imagine what inhuman thoughts lie behind that mask. Soldier doesn't like when Pyro goes on his side of the car, or when Pyro cuts off his hand. Heavy is nice
Pyro,
to
don't cut off
in the
Soldier's
Showdown
hand.
Comic, but it's only when he's trying to bribe Pyro into letting him get new weapons first. The only people who are consistently nice to Pyro are Miss Pauling and the Engineer, who both treat him like a kid. Though, to be fair, Pyro does have a very childlike mind and interest. In the True Meaning comic, we see Engineer read Pyro the story of Australian Christmas, and the way Miss Pauling talks to Pyro is very much in the way someone might talk to a child.
Hi, Pyro. I've got something I need you to do, okay, buddy?
So obviously we don't have any idea what the Pyro's name is, where it's from, or even what it looks like.
What it is!
I remember way back when the old Guadalajara was added in 2010, a few people thought there was some kind of hint that Pyro was Mexican, but of course since then, Pyro has essentially become a blank slate for cosmetics where pretty much anything goes on it. And even then, just wearing a sombrero doesn't exactly mean much. Oh man has one too now, so...
Meh.
What's sort of interesting is that the Pyrovision goggles item that makes you see the world like Pyro has the same optical mask text written across it that the Pyro's default gas mask does. So I guess it's possible that the mask itself directly relates to what Pyro sees. The only time we kinda come close to seeing Pyro take off its mask is in artwork included with the fight song's vinyl record, where the picture is conveniently burned off. And of course, it's not just what the Pyro looks like that's a mystery.
Pyro is a
We don't even know
lizard
what the Pyro's
creature.
gender
We
is.
saw that.
Though I suppose knowing what it looks like would probably answer that question too. Over the years, the TF2 team has made several hints about what the Pyro's gender actually is.
Damn, he's
And
really
what we're
using
gonna
the
do
gas
now
passer
is go over
effectively.
as many of those hints as I could find. Perhaps what started the whole debate is the fact that Pyro's locker contains a small handbag with a flower on it, something stereotypically girly.
Yeah,
Pyro's
but that doesn't
description
really
on the
mean
TF2
much.
trading cards on the TF2 website uses male pronouns throughout it, but ends with the sentence, "Either way, he's a fearsome, inscrutable, on-fire Frankenstein of a man." If he even is a man. After the sniper,
I think Pyro's an SCP, personally
an
speaking.
unused female face texture was found within TF2's files.
Ugh,
It's
that is
still
weird
unknown what
looking.
this was meant for, but some speculated that it was actually meant for Pyro, though that seems unlikely to me.
I think that
Several
was meant
sources
for. That looks like the
dominating
Fem
or
Spy,
recognizing Pyro
actually.
refer to Pyro in feminine ways.
Ah, you fight like a girl. Go home, Lassie. Men are fighting here.
Sorry, ma'am. Thanks for the warm-up, sister. Ooh, got you right in the ovary. You know what
Ugh.
you and Jane Austen have in common? You're both dead women.
Good Lord, you fight like a woman.
They're used as insults, but it's obviously playing off the mystery. Though Engineer does call Pyro both son and boy as well.
Speak up next time, boy. You look a mite tongue-tied, son.
Text on the old main menu would sometimes refer to Pyro
Why don't
as
you give her a shot?
In the transcript of Meet the Pyro, Scout apparently says, "He's not here, is she." A cloud in the shape of the Venus symbol, which is used as the female sign, can also
Oh.
be seen in Meet the Pyro.
Never saw that
One
before.
of Pyro's employees at Frontier Engineering refers to Pyro as Sir.
Sir.
And then there's
Tom
this whole
Jones
great
murdered.
scene in comic A Cold Day in Hell. And it may or may not be relevant, but in the comic Old Wounds, the Team Fortress Classic Pyro was confirmed to be a woman. And there
Yeah.
are several instances of Pyro being referred to as he
Remember
by
the Pyro?
other
He.
characters.
Oh, there he is.
In fact, I
That
don't
was
think
awesome.
there's ever been a time where another character in the TF2 universe has referred to Pyro using a feminine pronoun. For the most part, the majority of the hints have been leaning towards Pyro being female. But that's most likely because there's no immediate reason to question Pyro's gender just by looking at it.
Yeah,
All of
there
the
is.
other mercenaries are male, and Pyro doesn't look or sound particularly feminine, but neither
No.
did the TFC Pyro. It's a person.
No,
with a
also
fireproof
true.
suit.
Good point.
That's all we know. I guess maybe we don't even technically know that, but most likely a person in a fireproof suit. And obviously
person.
Pyro is voiced by a man, but that doesn't really mean anything.
Once
Dennis
again,
Baker
yeah, it
himself
doesn't mean
claims to
anything.
not know Pyro's gender. And yeah,
It's an
Pyro
it.
was pretty clearly male in the concept art, but Demo Man was also white in his concept art. So, you know,
Oh,
things
really?
change.
That's interesting.
And yes, before it inevitably gets brought up, I am aware of the game theory video on this subject.
Oh,
And it
I
does
haven't
bring
watched
up
that.
Some fairly interesting points, I guess. Assuming you've seen the video, their theory relies very heavily on characters in the TF2 universe having proportions in line with that of real humans, and the Pyro
Ah.
being in, like, a skin-tight suit. Two things that aren't necessarily accurate. I
Yeah.
don't think you could properly tell the size
How the hell
of
did he get up
body or
there?
fingers while they're wearing an asbestos suit and thick gloves. But it was just a theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, will we ever know?
Yeah.
Probably not. Do we actually
No.
want to know?
Nice.
I don't know. Do you? I
Damn,
personally
that's
think
two
it's better left
spies,
unknown.
man.
You don't want to ruin the mystery. In fact, it's likely that the writers themselves and the characters in universe don't even know. So I
True.
doubt we'll get anything more than just hints. Though I think my theory that Pyro is actually Trevor from Two Fort is pretty airtight. You might
Trevor
wanna look
from
into
Two
it.
Fort.
And
What?
now it's time for a timeline
What
of
the
all
hell?
important events in the Pyro's life that we know of.
That we know
And
of.
as a surprise to no one, this won't be very long. In 1968, the Pyro, along with 8 other mercenaries, are hired by Red and Blue to fight the Gravel Wars.
The gravel
The
fort,
administrator
yeah.
hires a director to unknowingly keep tabs on the mercenaries by filming them and interviewing them. This leads to segments of Meet the Pyro, despite Pyro not actually being interviewed itself.
Excuse me.
At some point, around Christmas time, a rocket crash lands into a building that Pyro and Engineer are in. In the rocket, they find space weapons from another dimension.
Cool.
In 1971, Medic and Engineer discover that the mercenaries
Ugh.
may be getting tumors as a result of teleportation.
Tumors.
Teleportation apparently mutates bread and results in a giant bread monster. Pyro shoots at it with his flamethrower during the fight scene. And
Nice.
does pretty much nothing else in that short. Later
Yeah.
that year, Redmond and Plutarch Man are
I wanted
killed
to see
by
so
Grey
much
Man,
more of that.
leaving the mercenaries out of a job. Saxon Hale then hires Pyro and the team to defend Manco from Grey Man's robots. In 1972, Gray Man takes control of Manco. The team disbands, and Pyro ends up as CEO of Frontier Engineering, leading them to their best quarter ever. Pyro leaves its CEO job to return
he takes off immediately. And he was still wearing the Pyro suit the whole time.
Spy and Scout, Pyro, Soldier, and Scout
there he is, just
to get heavy the team.
Staring at the fire.
Pyro, Miss Pauling, Demo, Spy, Sniper, Jana, and Soldier then head to New Zealand to try to find any remaining Australia. The Team Fortress Classic mercenaries and Medic track them down and capture them. They are brought back to Grey Gravel Cove. They escape and get back up from Saxon Hale and the others.
Going
Pyro
nuts.
kills the TFC Soldier and Scout. They beat the TFC team, and that's where it ends for now.
I know. When are we gonna get the final comic?
And that was the complete history
Sucks.
of Pyro.
Yeah, there ain't much there.
Wow.
Aside from the development, there isn't much about Pyro.
I know I didn't. Though I guess a big chunk of this video wasn't so much about the history of the character, but like a mystery about it. But I hope someday we actually get to learn more about the Pyro without revealing too much about its identity. Maybe like a story of Pyro's past told from someone else's perspective, or even a place of origin, or a name, or anything really.
No,
but
nothing.
Next time, I guess we have to wrap up the first part of the series with Soldier. And that's gonna be a pretty long video, I already know that. But until then, peace out, dogs.
That's just a theory. A TF2 theory. A complete history of Trevor from Two Fort. Oh my god. Okay, so a complete history of the Pyro. That was actually kind of interesting. And yeah, aside from the development, there's literally nothing about Pyro. There's nothing there. Ooh, excuse me. Anyway, though, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely did. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the link to the original down in the description. Get down to, was it Morning Breakfast or something like that? What was his name again? Sorry. After Breakfast. After Breakfast. Get down to his channel and subscribe to him. And, okay, so he's got a subscription from me. And I hope he gets more subscriptions from you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. More TF2 stuff is coming, so don't worry. Bye-bye.